Welcome to the Priestess of Motherhood podcast. My name is Dania Foster, Priestess of Motherhood, as well as a Bachelor qualified naturopath and energetics therapist. So, today I want to talk to you about why I include music into my clients' rituals and daily rhythms. So, one of the biggest things that I see when women first come to me is that they're disconnected from themselves. They don't know who they are. And I relate to this so hard because this was the one of the first reasons why I started doing this work was in a mission to come back to myself. And it ended up on this whole holistic path. So the women that I see that are feeling really disconnected from themselves, they've just been trying to be something outside of who they are for so long out of survival. So we see people pleasing, we've got neurodivergent masking. So whether that masking can be from neurodivergence, it can be from trauma, it can be from just your survival response, but your masking costs energy, like literal ATP, cellular energy. It costs you nutrients, it costs you neurotransmitters, and that can all lead to fatigue, burnout, hormonal dysregulation. You've got that chronic pain push through. So you might be masking to cover up that you're in chronic pain and just trying to go about your day as you go. And hustle culture is obviously the drive for all of this too. So there's lots of reasons why women are really feeling like they can't be themselves. And out of survival, they're pushing themselves to be something more than they are or something different to what they are. So our identity becomes shaped by this chronic nervous system response. Our hypervigilance leads to us taking on roles that we take on ourselves, like the responsible one or the good girl or the caretaker. So let me tell you, like looking back, I can recognize these themes that are woven throughout my entire life. So I've got these visceral memories that are imprinted into me. They feed me this story of my shadow. So I can remember shame imprinted in my body from as I was a kid, being told off for being too much, like my outbursts, both rage and silliness, for just being too big. And then I remember the praise from when I was quiet and polite and got good grades, and when I wasn't a problem. Those sort of things. Being the eldest, I had to take care of a lot of people. And I got that praise for being that version of myself. But if I was too silly or too full of rage and upset or dysregulated, really, my meltdowns were not accepted. And that was a big, shameful no. So this is what I learned, like what parts of me were acceptable. And this is where that mask started forming. So I remember this moment wasn't too long ago that I was out shopping with my husband for something to wear to a concert. And I said, I just need to find something really inconspicuous. I want something that I can just blend in. And he looked at me like it was a bit of surprise, maybe a bit of concern. And he's like, why don't you want to stand out? And instantly, my body just remembered. I was like, no, we're healing through this. And it reminded me of another time, like 15, 20, nearly 20 years ago, really early on in our relationship, when he asked why do you act so different around other people to compared to how I am when it's just the two of us? And the truth is that, well, he's always been my safe person. He's always been the one that I can drop the mask around, and he gets to see the real version of me. Um, but, it took me a long time to start dropping those masks and feel safe with other people who got to see the real version of myself. And that's because safety is the prerequisite to your authenticity. And this is the thing that so many I work with have been doing this for years. They're performing, they're masking, they're people pleasing. And it starts so young and it becomes just who we are. It becomes the air that we breathe, it's just what we do. And we wonder why we feel lost. We wonder why we're so disconnected, why we don't know who we are anymore. And it's often through motherhood that we start to realize these things because we sometimes we get to drop out of that rat race. We get to slow down. We get to leave. Well, for me, it was leaving corporate and dropping that corporate mask and finding out who I needed to be. And my daughter really needed to be my most authentic self because she needed me to be happy. And when I was putting on that mask, it was all very fake and very tense and very anxious. And I didn't get to be who I was with her. But they need to see the real us. So the truth is that you have not lost yourself and your body was adapting to survive, but returning women back to themselves is so important in my process. So it's all about rewiring your brain to find safety and acceptance in its natural state of joy and pleasure. So when we get stuck in our sympathetic dominance, our fight or flight, or a dorsal vagal shutdown, which is our freeze or our dissociation, it's impossible to access our authentic self-expression because your body is in survival. So if you're living out of alignment with your true essence, it's going to be draining your body over time. So yeah, no wonder you're tired and burnt out. Your mitochondria, your powerhouse of the cell, it is impacting your adrenal hormones, your thyroid function, and everything starts to crash. So when we get to tone the vagus nerve and nourish that to move from fight, flight, freeze zone, we get to create a highway to rest and digest where we're feeling safe in our bodies. So the gut is known as the second brain. Over 90% of serotonin, our happiness hormone, is made there. And the vagus nerve is what connects our gut, our brain. It goes through most of our organs in our body, including our clitoris. And when we are toning that nerve, we begin to feel safe. Vagal nerve improves, digestion improves, gut microbes are shifting back into balance. And this is directly impacting your mood, your motivation, your libido, your emotional resilience. So our authenticity creates coherence in both your body and your brain. And the more we live in our truth, the more biologically resourced we become. And things start to feel easier overall. So when we get to return back to ourselves, we're bringing the nervous system out of survival and into safety. So your true self can really be heard, not just by you and make you feel like you can actually relate to yourself again, but by the people that you're close to, like your kids, your partner. Those relationships start improving. It starts to move out into your friends and your community and your work, and everything like that just gets a bit easier. So healing is less about adding things in, and I see it as more about removing what's not yours. And music is a beautiful tool in which we can facilitate this. So let me tell you, like when I had my postpartum depression after my first, so I was working in corporate. I had a friend who was working in the energy healing space. I knew energy healing from back when I was a teenager, but I had locked it away in a closet and hadn't used it for a long time. But it was still a modality that had a lot of value put in. So I was working in corporate. I had this newborn baby that never slept and she screamed all the time. And I had postpartum depression. And ultimately, I didn't feel like myself. I felt really irritable all the time. I felt really depressed. And I just didn't know what to do with any of it. I did not feel connected to myself, to my baby, to my partner. And I was like, what the hell am I doing? I went to see a healer that I knew personally. And she told me that, and she told me this in love. And I know that this is where she was coming from, but her advice was to tell me, like, you're listening to too much depressing music. You listen to metal and you dress in all black, and it's just all too negative. And your baby needs you to be happy. So, surround yourself with happy things. So I took that on board that, when I was in that state of depression, that who I was wasn't enough for my baby. And I wasn't like being like a dress in all black metalhead wasn't what my baby needed. So I did the absolute worst thing for what I could do at the time is that I stopped listening to my music that I liked altogether. And I listened to the radio, which I found dead boring. I tried to dress in more flowery, colorful clothes because, I could see myself as like, yeah, I saw myself as a like a bit of a metalhead that liked to wear all black all the time, but I also saw myself as a hippie and loving the earthy colors and um those sort of hippie type of flowery type clothes. So I've got both in me. But when I completely denied my metal music, I completely denied all my black clothing and band shirts. I threw my band shirts away and I'm so devastated now that I did that because I was like, I really miss them. But, I threw them away and that breaks my heart. But I tried to do all of these things that just wasn't me. It wasn't the complete version of me. And that made my postpartum depression worse. It made me feel so lost with who I was. And I couldn't tell anybody because I had that shame now that who I really was wasn't the right thing or wasn't what I was supposed to be. Um, so for a while there, I was just really trying so hard to be something that I wasn't. And it did make me feel worse. But something to keep in mind from that is that was her version of what makes her happy. And I'm the best version of myself when I'm in tune with my spirit and when my energy is firing on all the cylinders. So we're not meant to be the same cookie cutter versions of everybody. We're not all supposed to love boppy poppy music and all dress in the same sort of style. So I love like deep emotional music that cuts me to the core. I love music that has like raw vocals and yeah, they may be screaming, they may be growling, but I love it when they blend both of that with some melodic singing as well. And that is just allowing me an outlet for my deep feeling heart. So that anger, the rage, the hurt, any resentment in all of those music, the lyrics, all of that, it's all okay here because I see this deep feeling music as a safe way to express. And music's not just music, it's frequency medicine. So low tones, minor keys, raw vocals, they can activate and move stuck emotions. So yeah, music is healing on a physiological level, on an energetic level. Singing and humming and listening to music that feels like you is going to help you stimulate your vagus nerve tone and help you connect that gut brain axis and help you feel more regulated. When we suppress parts of ourselves like rage, grief, darkness, our body is going to store them. And this shows up as chronic illness. It shows up as PMS, autoimmune flares, gut issues. It all comes back to that vagus nerve dysregulation. So when we only try to surround ourselves with positivity, it can actually repress those deeper parts, and that shadow really needs to be acknowledged. So you don't have to be high vibe to be healing. You need to be your real vibe. You need to be authentic. And shadow work, it's not just emotional, it's actually cellular. So expression is the antidote to your repression. Whether it's through music, whether it's through the way you move or primal sound, your body needs to release this energy. So be your fucking self. The way that I do that and the way that I feel it in myself is listening to metal music, lifting heavy weights, making like growling noises to my music. And I might be sounding really cringe. Like, I don't care. This doesn't have to be you. But what music actually makes you feel really happy? And it could be just like really, it could be old 80s music. I don't care what it is that you listen to. But I'm like, go back to the music that you listened to when you were a teenager, when you would be in your room with your headphones on and screaming away, whatever it is, like when they had the house to yourself, what are you listening to? What are you dancing around your house to? Put that on in the morning while you're getting ready for the day. Pop it on while you're making breakfast if you need to amp your energy up. And it will set the tone for your day. So, and not just the music being like, it'll set the tone for the day being like, oh, this is going to mean I'm angry for the day. It means that your energy is aligned for the day with what you need to express. So the priestess isn't going to censor her shadow. She is going to honor her shadow as sacred. And this work's not about becoming someone new. It's about remembering who you were before the world told you who to be. So the priestess of motherhood is where this unraveling and remembering is happening. in safety, in sacred space, in sisterhood, and that deep, intimate relationship that we build. And this is the work that we do inside the Priestess of Motherhood mentorship. We unravel the masks, we rewire the nervous system, and reclaim your pleasure, your power, your purpose. So, if you feel like you've been living someone else's life, this is your sign to come home to yourself and remember you're not broken, you've just been surviving. So, if you feel like walking this path back to wholeness together, I invite you to reach out to me. You are welcome to find me on Instagram, send me a DM, comment on my posts, and let me know how you're doing. Send me an email if you want. Book a connection call if you want to have a little chat and see how I can support you on this path. Okay, I'm here to help you and serve you because I have been here and I've been walking this path and reclaiming this part of myself as well. And I would be honored to help you as well. Lots of love to you and take care.